for political purposes, my opponent's youth and inexperience.
I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody.
We have great fans. I want to thank them for being here. So it's a great night for Nebraska.
The Nebraska Democratic Party is not going to have a sort of, burning bush moment where everything gets turned around in one election. That doesn't happen.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Mckoy, and this is Point Counterpoint, a webcast and radio program that allows both sides their opinion and treat each other nicely and maybe like it should be in the regular world of America and not the political hate that we have going on both sides. So Dennis is down in Mexico enjoying his summer or his winter vacation. And what's the next topic you think we ought to discuss, please?
Well, I think the status of the budget in the U.S. Congress is a pretty important topic. The government runs out of money on March 14th, and the Republicans hold the trifecta. So it's on them to fund the government, but the Republicans at the present time are hopelessly divided about how to do it. Right now, they don't have the votes to fund the government.
Well, but don't you think that's why we're cutting the budget, is because we can't afford the budget that the Democrats have put forth?
Well, the Democrats don't have the responsibility to put up a budget. They're in the minority. Here's the thing. There's a variety of budget plans kicking around on Capitol Hill. The one favored by Speaker Mike Johnson would increase the debt limit by $4 trillion to fund a tax cut that largely benefits the wealthy. Employee compensation is only 4% of the federal budget. It's a pretty small portion of the budget. You could fire them all, and we still have a large deficit. But the Republicans want to raise the debt ceiling by $4 trillion to fund a tax cut that will largely benefit for the wealthy.
It won't benefit you at all?
That was throw a few bones in the middle class, Mac, just to make us happy.
Okay, so there is...
And the rich dudes get most of the money.
So, well, no, that's not true. There are money being saved. There are money being saved from those tax cuts for the poor, for the middle class, and for the upper class. That's called America.
Well, 80% of the tax cuts go to the top 1% of the Trump tax cuts. That's way too much. They shouldn't get anything.
What were they under the Clinton administration?
Oh, Clinton had one of the largest tax cuts in history for the middle class. He did cut capital gains. It's a bipartisan deal. Biden and Obama both cut taxes for the middle class, and the rich didn't get a nickel. The middle class got all the money. That's the way it should be.
How did Joe Biden get rich?
Well, his net worth was only $300,000 when he retired as VP. He made his money with speaking fees and book royalties between the time he was VP and the time he was president. That's how he made his money.
Well, we certainly do need to pass a budget and keep America going, but we also need to stop the excess spending. We all learned in junior high that if you had $1, you had to save a part of it, and you don't spend $1.10. But that's what we do as a country.
Well, a family budget is not the government budget. A rich country like America can run small deficits on an indefinite basis and still be pretty prosperous. We've run deficits most years since the 1930s as a country, and we're pretty prosperous. But here's the problem for the Republicans is the so-called moderates like Don Bacon are opposed to the cuts to Medicaid, and so they don't have votes to pass their budget. They only have a 2-seat majority. And then you got the so-called House Freedom Caucus. They believe the cuts to Medicaid should be even deeper. We're not cutting Medicaid enough. And they're deeply divided about what to do.
Okay, I just want to say this, if I can, please. I don't hear anything about cutting Medicare or Medicaid except from Democrats. I don't hear anybody else saying we're going to cut Medicare and Medicaid except the Democrats.
Here's the deal. There's no Medicare cuts that I can see, Mac. But there are Medicaid cuts as part of Mike Johnson's budget. I can shoot you a link. It's completely legitimate and credible. There was an article on one of the political websites in the last few days. I think Don Bacon and some other House moderates said they didn't like the cuts to Medicaid. I mean, these are Republicans talking about it. A lot of Republicans are on Medicaid, and Medicaid funds rural hospitals, which are in red areas. So the Medicaid cuts are part of Mike Johnson's budget, but he may not have the votes to pass it.
Have we ever, I don't know this answer, so this is not a rhetorical question, Dennis. You're a history person, and I'm not that versed in that, but have there ever been any cuts to Medicare and Medicaid and Social Security in the history of this country?
Boy, none that have ever passed to my knowledge. The Republicans several times have tried to cut the programs, but they've always been defeated. In 95 and 96, Newt Gingrich shut down the government twice trying to cut Medicare and Medicaid, and he ended up backing down. Bush, 43, tried to cut Social Security in 05, and he backed down. And I think Reagan tried to cut Social Security in 81 or 82, and he backed down.
So only Republican presidents have tried to cut those benefits.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Okay.
also, when Obama was the president, the House Republicans presented a budget every year with cuts to Medicare and Medicaid, but with Obama in the Oval Office, they never went anywhere.
All right. So if I'm beating a dead horse here, I respect you and you can tell me that. But to me, everything that you're talking about points to cutting the budget. At some point, we have to find the waste so we don't have to make cuts in what the poor receive, the middle class receive, what the rich people get, or as your Democratic talking points, the billionaires.
Well, I think we have a revenue problem, not a spending problem, Mac. You could completely abolish the failed Bush 43 and Trump tax cuts, and you could balance the budget. Boom, overnight. So I think we have a revenue problem. Those are poorly designed tax cuts that failed to produce the economic boom that the Republicans promised they would produce. So I think we need to take a look at that. That has to be at the top of the list if we're going to reduce the deficit, looking at those failed tax cuts for the rich.
So you're not in favor of cutting the budget. You're in favor of increasing taxes.
Well, I'm in favor of a revenue solution first. Any budget cuts would have to be where the rich benefit. The middle class and the poor should be exempt from any budget cuts.
Okay.
That's rule number one.
So the stuff that Musk is finding, don't you consider this waste? $2.5 million to give vehicles to Vietnam?
A lot of those have been debunked.
No. I've got a list here. I've got a link to the government website. It's the government website.
Is it DOGE, DOG, or DOG, or whatever the heck it is?
Yes, it's dog.gov savings. So it is a United States government run website, just like all the other websites that are run by the government.
That's Elon Musk's website. Elon Musk.
No. It's doge.gov.
Yeah, I saw it earlier today. I think Larry posted it. That's DOG. That's Musk's committee. Let me tell you about Musk. He admitted he lied. He said that.
No, he said he'll get some things wrong.
He lied about it.
He said he'll get some things wrong from time to time, and that takes a humble man to admit that. He thought the condoms went to Hamas, and actually they went to Mozambique. So, I mean, if you're gonna call him a liar, and then he apologizes and said he got it wrong,
He didn't apologize, and the Washington Post, which supports Trump, fact-checked a lot of these claims and said these claimed waste, fraud, and abuse was this bogus baloney. The Washington Post, Jeff Bezos is a Trump supporter. He and Trump are pretty tight. He was up on the inauguration stand with Trump on inauguration day. So one of Trump's own allies has debunked a lot of these allegations. And here's something that Musk did today in a court filing. The Trump administration, a court filing today, said that Musk was not the head of DOGE. Well, Trump several times on national TV has said that Musk is the head of DOGE. So it's a very dishonest court filing. If I did something like that, Mac, I'd be in a heck of a lot of trouble. So Musk has some serious credibility problems. Some independent auditor, I think, needs to verify the alleged savings before I will believe him.
All right. You got the last word, Cowboy. I love having you on the show. You've got the last word as always.
Thanks for having me, Mac. I appreciate it.
All right, buddy. You take care. We'll see you soon.
You bet. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Yep. That's Dennis P. Crawford, who's my co-host on this show, and I am so blessed to have him. And if you know me, you know that I mean that. And he's exactly the type of person I want to talk to about this stuff every single week. And we want to thank our guest, Ralph, for coming in and talking about the sanctity of life. And the only thing I want to leave you with is just be nice. You know, the woman that sent me the thing that criticized that I should know what the Bible said and not follow this fake Christian called Trump. That's where do you get that? And no, I'm not going to mention her name because I'm not going to use this as a bully pulpit. But you know who you are. And that's just not true. And I said back to her, show me in the Bible where Jesus talks about that, what a fake Christian is. And that's not what Donald Trump is. See, when you're a Christian, there's no such thing as a good enough or a bad enough Christian. When you are a Christian, you are admitting that you are not perfect. You are admitting that you are a sinner. You are saying that I need my Creator to forgive me for these horrible things that I've done. That's what a Christian is. So if you think Donald Trump is a fake Christian, then I want you to sit down with him like I did several years ago. We talked for over a half hour, just the two of us. No microphones, no cameras. I can tell you that Donald Trump believes in God and he believes in Jesus. And he says that all the time. If you call him out as a fake Christian, I'm sorry, you don't know what a Christian is. We thank you for spending your time with us today. We thank our special sponsors, Omaha Magazine, for the beautiful studios they've allowed us to have here, and Divine Truth Christian Store. Anything you need, anything you want, go to thedivinechristianstore.com and get what you need as Easter comes upon us. And thanks for listening to Point Counterpoint on The View from a Pew.
Divine Truth Christian Store, where you'll find more.